welcome to the Spirit Plug channel. I'm your girl, Jaleesa Nilta, the Spirit Plug, and I am so excited to have you here. For those who are new, welcome. Be sure that you hit the bell and you subscribe so that you can be notified when the weekly videos drop. You heard that, weekly, at least one video a week. And so this channel is all about self-love, self-care, and community building. Give thanks to all the new folks who have subscribed to my channel, or maybe you just have popped into the video, so be sure that you subscribe so that you can stay updated on the weekly videos when they drop. Based on the title today, we are going to be talking about self-love and what that actually looks like in practice. And you know, we always start with some tea. So what tea are you drinking today? I'm actually not drinking tea. I'm drinking hot cider. Where I live, apple season is huge here. There's so many different opportunities. I didn't even know that there were so many different type of apples. I just thought green and red, but I will plug in Honeycrisp apples are my favorite. So saying all that, I'm drinking hot cider today. You could taste the cinnamon, the clove, and it's warm. It's just really good for my soul. I love it. So Ashe, give thanks to that. We'll start, as well with clearing the air. I want to, start off with giving thanks to our now beloved ancestor, Bell Hooks. I've been reading one of her books that I will be sharing with you in a bit. But I just want to give thanks and start off our session today, which is giving thanks to her abundance, her knowledge, and her wisdom, to speak maybe even times when her voice shook. And so I give thanks to that, and just Ashe. So let's go. Let's talk about self-love in practice. I'll see you in a bit. Ashe.
One of the things I'm learning about my self-love journey is knowing how to be vulnerable, but how to be vulnerable with myself. And for me, that's encouraging my emotions to flow like water. So here we go. Woo! The finish line is right there. It's already mine. Oof. This song is ironic. Can't nobody love me better than me. Can't nobody love me better than me. Can't nobody love me better than me. Woo, there's a lesson to be learned in all of this. Shit hurts. It hurts. There's so many things that hurt. It hurts sometimes because it's like, damn, shorty, you got deep in this shit. Like, you got deep as fuck in this shit. And you didn't see none of it. Like, the veil was over the eyes. I literally allowed for someone to be in my life who was trying to tell me every day, like, oh, I know you better than you know yourself. Like, the fuck? Who says that? Crazy people. But my ignorant ass, I didn't know people were this crazy. Like, I knew people had personalities, but I did not know. Yeah, we not fancy out here. I did not know. Sorry, y'all. I did not know. became psycho like that. Mm-mm. And it's not me just saying psycho. It's like, like, no, that shit is real. And I pray every day, feel like, whatever. The point is, it's like I had to continuously forgive myself. Because no matter what, I got myself into this situation. Whether I was, like, cognate to it or not. Now, I ain't deserve none of that shit that happened to me. You know, I got big lips. Get this shit on my sweater. I ain't deserve nothing that happened to me. Could have learned my lesson in a different way. The lesson is that I'm a people pleaser. I'm not, actually. I did not speak that out loud. But is that I had a gross disease called people pleasing. That allowed for me to continuously get into toxic situations with people. Like, the relationship was, whew, that was one. But, like, friendships or jobs, like, no more. No more. Definitely could have learned my lesson a different way. It didn't have to be so painful. And I can't do anything to change that now, so toss that shit up in the air, let it go. Move like water. When the emotions come, feel that shit and let it go. But I'm almost there. I'm almost there. One more week. A weekend from some change from today. My whole life is gonna be in a shift. Bamboo season, baby. Bamboo season. I'm so excited. Oh, because it's been a long time coming. Until then. Flow. Flow like water. Water reminds us so much to flow. If anything you get from this video, be like water. Ashe.
Okay, so like I said, I will share with you all the book that I have been reading by Bell Hooks, our now beloved ancestor. So it's called Salvation, and I want to read a little bit from the book to you all. And again, remember, right, we're talking about self-love, but what does that look like in practice? And I think this is a good place to start as a foundation for melanated folks, specifically in the United States, but globally within our diaspora. And this is also, I believe, part 2 of her series of Black and Love. I didn't read the first one. I just thought it was so profound that I found this book about like a month or 2 months ago when I went to a local bookstore. I've been doing my own type of research and just pondering about what is love. Baby, don't hurt me, no more. Act like you know. But like, what is it? I don't understand like necessarily what love is. I really started having to question myself, like, what does that actually mean? It gets thrown around in romantic relationships and platonic relationships with family members, but like, is love an action? Is love a verb? Is love a pronoun? Like, you know, like, what is it, right? There's so many ways that it's been thrown around. So ask and you shall receive. The universe is always looking out for my higher good. So I found this book and I bought it. So in one of the chapters, it is called, I think it's in chapter 2, We Wear a Mask is where I'll be starting at. So for way too long, Black people in this society were taught only that we came from this country as slaves. It has taken years of progression of anti-racist struggles to create enough cultural momentum so that a holistic picture of our history in this nation, a true, complete version of our past, one that is not tainted by racist biases, can emerge. Whatever its flaw or defects, the movie Amstrad and all the publicity it received globally reminded the world that all Black people did not come here as slaves. We are, as African Americans and as Black folks in the diaspora, our cultural destiny has been shaped by both the enslaved and the free. Skip a little forward. With this understanding of love's meaning, is clear that more often than not, slavery has made it all but impossible for Black people to love one another. When emotional ties were established between individuals, when children were born to enslaved mothers and fathers, and these attachments were often severed. No matter the tenderness of connection, it was often overshadowed by the trauma of abandonment and loss. Slave narrative document the efforts individual Black people made to normalize life in an abnormal circumstance. Despite the dehumanization intact by the dominant culture of white supremacy, with spiritual resiliency, enslaved Black people worked to create a subculture where bond and affection could be forged and sustained. Two of the widely known red slave narratives by Frederick Douglass and Harriet Jacobs share detailed memories of the psychological tension gathered by the conditions of enslavement. In Jacob's narrative, she tells a moment when her older brother Willie is torn between family bonds and the demand of enslavement. One day, when his father and his mistress both happened to call him at the same time, he hesitated between the two, being perplexed to know which had the strongest claim over his obedience. He finally concluded to go to his mistress. Douglass insisted in his narrative that he had never known mother's love, but he shared at the beginning of his stories that his mother had walked miles to hold him as a child, even though she risked brutal punishment. To Douglass, a mother's love was defined by care that was sustained and that could be counted on. In his case, the trauma of separation and abandonment overwhelmed those early memories of loving care. Like so many other Black folks who made the transition from slavery to freedom, but who were still compelled by the economic circumstances to spend most of their time living with and working for whites, Jacobs longed to give her children sustained emotional care and was not always able to give them the love she knew they needed and deserved. From slavery until present day, Black folks have felt conflicting tension between survival needs and the demand of the heart. No doubt this is part of why historian Leon Liquid titled his book about the lives of Southern Black people in the age of Jim Crow, Troubled Minds. Survival in the racist society often dictated that Black people adjust to values and social mores imposed on us by the white world, which often affected our capability to be loving. Chronicles of life after slavery and into the mid-1900s showed that Black children were often given mixed messages by parents. They would be told by parents to respect themselves and others, to cultivate good manners, to tell the truth, only to then be compelled by the same elders to act a different way when encountering white power structures. So I think, why I wanted to share that, I feel like that's such a beautiful way to start the foundation, right, of our conversation of like, what does self-love look like in practice? And why this is important as a foundation is really understanding that melanated people struggle with finding what love is Like, what does that mean, right? Like, what is that? And it's not our fault, right? We came into, I'm talking about us who are currently living right now. You know, our ancestors did the best that they could with what they were working with, and a lot of time love came in the space of conditioning us for survival. Like, let me say that again, like love from our ancestors and even our elders, but they're still here on this plane. If they're an elder, they still have room to improve. I always believe that you have room to grow and improve until the day that you're no longer here on earth. So to know that we were taught things about love that were rooted in survival isn't love. So what does self-love look like in practice, right? You'll see me looking out the side because I got notes. Because I'm an educator and I take notes so that I can stay on task. Okay? Because if not, we're going to be here for 2 hours. I done just spoke a whole dissertation to y'all. We're not doing that. So I'm going to give you 3 things of what does self-love potentially look like in practice. And why I say potentially, because some of this may work for you and some of it may not. I believe it all will work for everybody, but there's a time and a place for everything. You may be in a different place in your journey. And maybe some of the advice that I'm going to share may not sit with you right now, but maybe it'll sit with you in a month, 2 years from now, who knows when. Maybe you'll come back to this video in a year and be like, I need that now. So, you know, be sure that you save the video. So first thing about what does self-love look like in practice? The first thing is choosing yourself. What does that mean? It means that I guess, you know, let's take a step back and say, like, what does it mean to put yourself first? For me, it's about, you know, knowing that, let's give an example of, I take time to plan my weeks out. But when I do that, the first thing that I do that I put on my schedule is time for me. I have a day that's set for me to rest. So, right, I set a day for me to rest. I also set time aside for me to read, for me to do my recordings. Like, you hear the things for myself first, right? Also for me to go like grocery shopping, because that's putting myself first. Because then once all these things are set, and even like laundry, stuff like that, and it doesn't mean it's like a rigorous, hard schedule. It just is like, okay, on Wednesdays, you're gonna do baby girls' diapers, because we use cloth diapers. So you're gonna wash cloth diapers on this day. It makes sense. I get my new delivery on that day. It works for us, right? So it's like finding what works for your rhythm. But after all of that is set, then when people ask for my time, I'm not just willingly just being like, yeah, and then upset because I've said yes to so many other things, and I've said yes to more things than I've said for other people than I've said for myself. So again, one way that looks like in practice is putting yourself first. So, you know, I like putting things out in like the physical form. So I write everything out. I have a planner. I also have a wall calendar, and I have plenty of journals for all the different stuff in my mind. So that's one. And 2 is knowing that you are worthy to speak up for yourself. What's that mean, girl? It means like, I used to go by this saying all the time, especially in college, is like, speak up even though your voice may shake, right? So maybe you have someone in your family who always calls you and just, but all they're yatting about is negative stuff. And you about the latest drama, maybe in the family or in the neighborhood. And it's like, you don't want to hear all that because it's always negative. And maybe because of who they are in the family, you're, you know, a little hesitant to maybe say like, hey, I don't want to hear about that. But I'm here to tell you to do it. Even if your voice shakes, you ain't got to be like, yo, shut the fuck up. You don't got to do all that. You could just be like, hey.
Okay, y'all, had some technical difficulties, but it's fine. So one of the things you could say is like, hey, I really enjoy having conversations with you. However, I'm really trying to be mindful of my space and what I let in. And I really just don't want to hear any of the drama or the negativity. But what I do love to hear, you know, name some of the things. And this is going to take practice, of course, but it's important. And you know what you're also doing here is setting boundaries. for yourself, which is beautiful. You know, you're taking that step. So just practice. Maybe look in the mirror. Practice makes practice. So go ahead and try. Look in the mirror. Say it to yourself, you know, until you're truly confident. And even if you're not truly confident, just say it. In the long run, you will be happy that you are setting these new boundaries for yourself. And the third thing I have for you today is to master saying no. Saying no sets you up for success. Saying no allows for yourself to make and create space for yourself. And even if you're not sure if you want to say no, something that I like to say is, that's interesting. Can I get back to you about that? That way you're not responding right away, but you're also, taking the time to step back to see what your intentions are for whatever it was that was requested of you. You got this. That is my third tip on how to cultivate self-love and by putting it into practice.
Shay. Okay, so 3 easy things. You may need all 3. You may need just 1 or 2, but they're here for you. We are going to continue pushing forward for ourselves. And these are 3 practical ways that you can start practicing self-love. Know that I am here with you in spirit. Know that I am sending you all the myrrh that you need to heal in your life. Know that you got it. This is a collective. I'm so happy that you have subscribed to this channel, and you can also find me on Instagram and TikTok under the same name, The Spirit Plug, DASPIRITPLUG. Okay, and I thank you so much for your time and the time and energy you have spent watching this video. May you have a triumphant day, and may you continue to live your life in the best form of you. Live intentionally while victoriously evolving. I love you all, and until next time, Ashe.